I have to call out the inequity of this. Metro area taxpayers pay operating costs and other costs for operating bus lines, transit lines all over the state. I mean all over the state. There was an article in the Star Tribune a couple of weeks ago that pointed out specifically that the metro area taxpayers are funding a far greater proportion of the costs of running mass transit in Minnesota than Greater Minnesota is paying for its own transit lines. So the question for me is, why shouldn't the metro area be entitled to the same access to statewide dollars? And in particular here now, why should not Hennepin County be entitled to the same access to statewide dollars when they have a line that all the other counties in Minnesota enjoy when they access Hennepin taxpayer dollars? It just doesn't seem fair. It seems that what the legislature will be saying here is, Hennepin County, you pay for transit all over the state and all over the metro area, and you alone will pay for the transit in Hennepin County. Where is the fairness in that? I think the appropriate response should be Hennepin County should be allowed to pay for our own transit and only our own transit, and let everyone else raise their taxes all over the state to pay for their own transit too. Why should I have to pay for transit in Grand Rapids or in Laverne if the legislators from all those counties aren't willing to help pay for transit in Hennepin County? Why should I bear that burden just because I live in Hennepin County? And don't tell me it's because only Hennepin County residents are going to be using the transit in Hennepin County. Every time any resident from elsewhere in Minnesota comes to Hennepin County to go to a Twins game or a Vikings game, and they'd rather not park in downtown Minneapolis, I can guarantee you they're going to get onto a light rail transit line in Hennepin County. And someday a lot of them from Carver County and Scott County and Blue Earth County and all the other counties south and west, when they come up to the metro area to go to a ball game, they're going to park and ride out in Eden Prairie and hop on the Green Line extension that will be Southwest LRT. And they are going to benefit from the fruits of the Hennepin County only tax-paid LRT line. And on top of that, they're going to pay a fare that is more heavily subsidized. That is less heavily subsidized than the fare for buses anywhere else. In other words, in proportion to the cost of operation, LRT riders are paying more at the fare box than bus riders are. So the bus riders are getting more heavily subsidized across the state for the operations, not only in their non-fare operating costs, but also for the operating revenue from the fare box that helps cover that. Specifically, Hennepin County sends $1.674 billion in sales tax to the state. It's 29% of the state's sales tax revenue. And Hennepin County sends $3.144 billion in income tax to the state, representing 31% of the income tax that goes to the state from everywhere in the state. Now, Hennepin County receives state aid of $205 million. 4.25% of what Hennepin County pays to the state in tax revenue gets returned to Hennepin County for use on Hennepin County projects. 4.25% return, while Hennepin County represents about 25% of the state's population. So it is crystal clear from the most recent audit in 2015 that Hennepin County is paying for projects, transit, buildings, everything else that the state pays for, schools, in every one of your districts. Every one of your districts of those you sitting here in this chamber today. You should be thanking Hennepin County taxpayers for being willing to do that, because we see a value to the entire state. But if you're not willing to help Hennepin County pay for our stuff too, maybe we shouldn't pay for any of yours. See if you'd vote for that amendment to any bill.